Hi, and welcome to My Rebellious Sacred Heart, a podcast where we talk about out of body experiences, anything metaphysical, anything and everything that brings you to your awakening, finding your path, walking your journey, because you're not alone. And with me today, I have Miss Mary Electra. She is a beautiful, beautiful young woman who is a tonal alchemist. And she has so much to share, not just even in her sound. She has so many beautiful gifts. And I would like to welcome you, Mary, to the show.
Thank you very much. And ditto, you are a very beautiful soul as well. So I'm
Thank
very honored to be here and let's make this happen.
Yeah, make it happen. That's exactly what
Yes.
we're going to do. So, real quick, just how Mary and I met, I actually watched an interview that Mary did with SG Anon, and I was just so inspired by Mary and the things that she's been through, where she's been, and all the things that she's doing. And the toning that she is trying to share with the world, that she is sharing with the world, because she shared her beautiful tones with me. And it was quite interesting because I found Mary on Facebook after that interview. And then it turns out that the day that I was reaching out to Mary, Mary was reaching out to me. So to me, that means there's divine intervention and synchronicities, and there are no coincidences. So we're meant to be here together talking about this.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We're meant to do lots of little things together.
Oh,
So
yeah. This is just the beginning, my friends. So, yes,
stay
Mary.
tuned. Stay tuned.
Exactly. So, Mary, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and what you're offering, and we'll just go from there. We're just going to have a conversation, and we're inviting you all to join us.
Yes, I I tone. I have a very special gift where I have been given frequencies that are not of this dimension to bring through that are very important for our time now because we are going through a very stressful time in our universe globally. There are some changes, there's some resets happening, but whenever you grow, there's always a little darkness before the dawn, they say. And so we are going through that little darkness period. And the frequencies that I bring through support beings in this process on the planet. It, my understanding is the sound that I do opens the portals to your higher dimensional self. Since everyone is an aspect of God, everyone has a spark of the divine within them, which means they have a strand of DNA from God. It's basically
We all
what
do.
what
Yeah.
what DNA means is it's you take on those characters. So with that DNA, people have amazing wisdom. They have all knowing. All knowing lives within each and every one of us. All we have to do is open ourselves to our divinity, to our divine self. And the wisdom is there, the knowing is there, the creativity is there. There's unlimited potential in each and every being on this planet. And each and every one of us has a gift to give, whatever it is. It could be a smile, you know, it could be an argument with somebody so they could maybe wake up to something that they need to wake up to. It's just unlimited what it can be. But each and every one of us has a gift to bring to the world. And I believe my sound supports that.
I would agree with that after having a session with you myself personally. Um, the things that I felt, and the reading that you gave me and the meditation. I personally just signed up for a session with Mary because I was so interested in receiving. So it was my intention to help myself in this way so I could continue. And here we are sharing this with everyone. And Mary has such a beautiful gift, and there's so many gifts that she has actually. And we all have them, like you said. I absolutely agree with that. And it's just up to us to experiment and explore and be curious because different things are going to help different people in different ways. So
Yes.
we don't know what we don't know, but when you're willing to try with the best of intentions, that's where the magic happens.
Yes.
So
And
go ahead.
well, people kind of lost their light because this dimension is like it's a polarity. So there's the dark and the light here, and there's a density. And so we have to remember ourselves. People say we're learning here, and maybe you are, but since I believe we have all knowing,
Oh,
what are you learning? You're remembering. In my
yes.
mind, you're remembering who you are. You're not learning who you are. You're remembering because you already are. You are. So when you remember who you are, that's that's magic.
Yeah.
That's
And I think part of like when I just say that automatically, that we're all learning, actually, I think probably what is more accurate is that we have to unlearn. We have to unlearn the things that we thought we knew, thought we believed, that whatever it was, we have to just cleanse ourselves and remove all of our prior beliefs, almost like starting over. This would be like a good place to say, you know, a rebirth in a sense, really coming
yes,
into your own and honoring yourself. And
right.
I don't think that most of us have been doing that very well. And again, that's why we're here because like we've kind of hidden ourselves beneath all the chaos and the control that's going around, um, and we need more light, and that's literally what we're trying to bring out that light that is in every single person so we can
Well,
shine more of that.
we've had we've been inculcated
Yeah,
uh, that they there's a lot of ways they instill within you a consciousness of looking outward to find your answers.
yeah,
That's been taught to us in churches. And I'm not, I'm spiritual. I'm very spiritual, but I'm not religious because religious turned into it's about money and it's about power more than it is about you remembering who you are. So they encourage you to look outside of yourself. They just do. They also encourage fire, hell, and brimstone, a fear, which source, God. There's no fear. There's nothing to fear in God. God allows us to experience ourselves. God allows us to make choices. God doesn't judge us. He only has love for us.
right.
But there is, because we live in a polarity, there is a dark and a light. And you see that in the symbol, the Chinese symbol, the yin and yang. It, they both live within us. And until we can fully embrace that consciousness of wholeness, we never become fully whole and enlightened. Because our enlightenment is about embracing the all, as God does. That's
Hmm.
God embraces everything. He doesn't He doesn't turn away from us if we do
He
something
doesn't
that
discriminate.
he doesn't judge. He doesn't judge. I mean, I don't think he judges. I think he
No.
allows. He has a lot of
Yes,
uh,
allows.
he. So I I just think that what we've been inculcated with, that needs to be cleansed. That needs to be acknowledged. That needs to be understood. Because once we can understand and know that that a lot of what we believe has nothing to really do with who we are. It has to do with what other people have imposed on us. And they always haven't had our best interest in heart. So we need to have our best interest at heart
Yes.
and fully embrace the amazing beings that we are. And that's what we really need to do.
Hmm. It's like reclaiming our power because we were
Yes.
unaware of the power that we had.
Yes.
And that's where the
Yes.
remembering comes in. And
Right.
remembering, like you always say, and remind me even now, is that we are all that essence of the divine.
Yes, we are.
And that is the very first thing you have to start with, because from there, it's all love and it's all light. As much like, you know what I mean? There, yes, there's the dark
Yeah.
and the light,
Yeah.
but we want to
Right.
shine, that's
Yeah.
ultimately
Yeah. The more we embrace who we are, we shine. The more we embrace the wholeness of who we are, we shine. I mean, that's all there is to it, because there is darkness within each of us because
right,
we're part of this whole consciousness. We're part of everything. So darkness is there. There's not one of us that can say that we've operated from a position of light our whole lives. We've hurt people when we didn't really mean to. We've said things. Sometimes we've even told little lies. We've done lots of things that are not really of our light.
right.
But we embrace that. We embrace those parts of ourselves. They're they're part of us, and in this dimension, not in all dimensions. And I don't want to get beyond what the audience can really absorb, because some of my thoughts are very difficult to wrap your mind around. But I believe that we are a spirit that's infinite, and in our infiniteness, we are in every dimension that exists. We are part of those dimensions.
Hmm.
But in this dimension has density and polarity. And the polarity and density allows us to experience. Okay? It allows us to experience and to choose and to accept and
And to
to,
allow.
yeah, and to have compassion.
Yes.
And that's what I feel is enlightenment. Forgiveness, compassion, acceptance is
Mhm.
where enlightenment lives.
That's
So,
beautiful.
well, thank you. Thank you.
So tell me how you came to know or came to the realization that you have this beautiful toning abilities that are beyond this world. So when did that come to you?
I was 45 when I began my spiritual journey, but I was told, um, I don't know if your audience knows that there are avatars. Do they know what they are?
I don't know if they know. Do you guys know that you're avatars? That we
Well, I'm going to
chose to
tell you,
be here?
avatars are angels that choose to take a physical form to support another being in this physical dimension. So they come in and take a physical form to give you guidance. And when I was 17, I was pretty lost and didn't, you know, I didn't live at home anymore. I didn't have any real skills. I didn't really want to go to college, but I couldn't afford to go to college. I just didn't know what I was going to do. How was I going to live? We have to support ourselves, get apartments. What
Hmm.
was I going to do?
Do all the adult stuff?
Yeah, and I was like feeling very lost, extremely lost. So I decided to take my life. Now, I had come from a very dark childhood. So I would always I was always saying, I don't know, why did I, why am I living in this darkness? I never took any responsibility for it. It was always somebody else that was putting this burden of life on me. And so I made this decision to take some pills, and I took them. You get very sick, and so I wouldn't recommend it. But it's not a pleasant experience.
We don't recommend.
But I was laying there and feeling very awful because all this poison was in my system. And I thought, I'm too curious. I want to know what's going to go on. I'm really curious. I'm curious. I can't do this. It's too early. I can't do this. I got to see what's going to happen. What am I going to be? What is going to come for me? What's going to happen in my world that still hasn't been realized? So I threw up and then went to the hospital and had my stomach pumped. And about a month later, there was a person that was looking for my roommate's boyfriend, and he was a serviceman because we lived near Fort Ord, and it was during the time, I'm going to age myself now, but it was during the time of Vietnam. So there were a lot of men there training to go to Vietnam.
Mhm.
So anyhow, this man was driving back and forth. He was in this sports car, and top was down. He was just such a gorgeous man. I mean, Spirit knows I'm really, that's kind of my Achilles heel man. They capture my attention all the time. Anyway, so he stopped and asked me if I knew this person. I said, "Well, that's my roommate's boyfriend, but they're not here." And he says, "Well, he told me to meet him here." And I said, "Well," I said, "I don't know what to tell you. I don't know when they're coming back, and I can't. No cell phones then. So how do you
Right,
get a hold of somebody?
right.
You you just had to wait." So I said, "Why don't you come in the house and wait?" And so he came into the house with me, and he started reading my palms. And the right is your past, the left is your future. So
I didn't
this
know
man, and I told you I had some really dark. I lived in a lot of darkness as a child,
that. Mhm.
and he knew everything. He knew everything. I never told anybody most of the stuff he was telling me. He
Wow.
knew my ages, experiences. He knew. I was captured by it because I love to hear about myself. Like, well, maybe most people don't, but I do. Anyway, so hearing about myself captured my attention. I was enthralled with this, and he was also very easy to look at. So that didn't hurt either. So
So you're like, tell me more.
so yeah. Can I date you? so, so then he took my left hand, which is where your future is when you're doing palmistry. And he said, Mary, you're here for a very specific purpose. You, you are here to touch thousands and thousands of people, and you will not move into your spiritual journey until you turn 45. And
Wow.
it's going to take all of your courage and all of your strength. But when you turn 45, you will be in your spiritual journey. You will be doing what you're here to do. And what you do is very important. And you're here to touch thousands of people. And that was daunting. It was very
I was going to
daunting.
say, how did that make you feel at that time? Because obviously you're at a very different point in your life.
Well, it was daunting because
Yeah. You're like
I,
me,
I had just attempted to take my life, and
right?
then I find that um, I'm here for a really important reason
But you
that I
believed it.
agreed to.
You
Huh?
believed it though. Did you did you
Oh, of course,
feel it?
of course,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
course, I believed it. Why would
Yeah.
he? Yeah, why would he tell me this? I mean, really,
Right. No, but I mean
why would he
like
tell me that?
yeah, I just meant like in the sense because like there's different things that I've experienced that way. And while I believe it, sometimes I just have a hard time, like you said, it's daunting.
Well, yeah,
But
it
anyway,
was
I'll
a
let you
long time.
finish.
It was a long time away. I mean, I happened to be 17 when this happened,
Right.
and 45 was like, when you're 17,
Almost 30
45 is
years
age.
away. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's people get old. That's when people are old. Is at 45. That's when life begins. But when you get my age, you realize that life begins, at probably 45 or 50. But the thing is that no, I wasn't afraid, because I somehow had always been guided. I had I had protectors, and I know I did, because of what I went through as a child. I was being protected. I came out. I'm. I had experiences, but I came out letting those experiences enrich me, because those experiences really taught me how to forgive. And I had to forgive myself
First. Yeah.
and all others. And I had to learn that forgiveness, because otherwise I would have turned into a really wretched being if I had hate and anger inside of me all these
Hmm.
years. But
Right.
I made a choice a long, long time ago, when I was 18, that that would ruin my life. And if I really wanted any quality of life, I had to deal with my past and my childhood, and I needed to learn to accept it. And I took the time to do that, to fully accept and embrace and forgive, and learn a lot of compassion. So it really started me on my journey to my true spirituality, I
Yeah.
believe. So my youth was a part of that, and I had to do that so that I could be whatever I am today. I had to
Mhm.
learn those things. So I think we draw these things into our when we come in with a knowing, whether you remember it or not, a knowing of what we're here to do. And so when this person told me that, because one of the things that happened when I attempted suicide and then I uh, made the decision to live, I realized, I can't blame anybody else anymore, because I made this decision to stay. So I can't blame
Oh, yeah.
any of my stuff,
Right.
because I could have gone out, and but I didn't. I made a choice to stay, and
Hmm.
in that choice, I was responsible. And I
And
can't tell you how important that is, because responsibility to your life is important for each and every individual out there. We need to take responsibility for who we are.
mhm.
And in that responsibility, it also supports us in our forgiveness and our acceptance and our compassion. So, anyway, so a lot happened in that experience of
Well,
attempting suicide and bringing the avatar, because spirit was really making sure I didn't do this again, because I had a propensity for depression
mm,
for many years, for many, many years, because I was what I was going through. And it was like a dark depression. And it would be like I didn't, I kept not wanting to be here. And then I had to realize, no, I need to be here. So this avatar was sent to me from spirit to make me realize how important it was for me to stay. And that's that's why I believe the avatar, the angel, was sent in physical form. Because when my roommate's boyfriend and her, when they got home, I told him that this man had been here for me. He didn't know who he was. We called Fort Ord to the base locator, because that's when people are looking, when someone dies or something, they call the base locator to find the person, to make them aware of what's going on in their personal life.
mhm.
So that person wasn't listed in the base locator.
So
And
they
it
didn't
was
know him at all. They did not know who
no,
you were talking
there,
about.
there's no record of him, no. And so I thought that quite strange. And then years later, well, about 3 or 4 years later, I read Linda Goodman's Star Sign book, and she talked about avatars, about the angels that come in physical form to help us sometimes. And I said, "Oh my God, that was an avatar," because I knew it. I mean, it was you know how you just know. I
Yeah.
read that book and I go, "That was that. That was an that was an
It put it
angel
all
saying,
together
"Yeah,
for
thank
you.
you, thank you, God." You know, it was like so. I realized it because 3 years after he gave me that message, I was at a Halloween party and a psychic was paid to read every one of the guests. And when she read when she gave me my reading, she said, "You know, you're going to be living your spiritual purpose when you turn 45." And she said, "It's going to take all of your courage and all of your strength, but you're here to touch thousands and thousands of people." So she almost told me everything
The
that the
same thing.
avatar said. So
So
I
now you
was,
have two people telling you
it's confirmed, you know, and it was daunting. I really felt daunted by it. And I would have these dreams. Oh, I had these dreams all the time about me standing with arms and legs and limbs and body parts all around me, and I'm whole. I'm completely intact.
hmm
And I thought, gosh, I'm living through some kind of a devastating thing where everybody's gone, and how did I survive? I was whole, but I do believe that that dream was telling me that my my spiritual strength would support me in helping other people, which is why there are all these limbs and everything, would support me in helping other people in their spiritual journey. And that's kind of how I felt about that dream as I got older.
hmm
Not when I was young
Right.
and living through it. It was very very frightening. But it was reoccurring. It happened every night. It was
Wow.
so that dream I think was telling me that I was here to become as whole as I could be. Because I still live here in this dimension.
Right.
There are still all sorts of things like that attack you like quicksand. You know, you take a step and all of a sudden you're sinking. You're no longer remembering who you are,
Right.
and you get lost in that minutia. And so that happens. I mean, it's because when you take on your spirituality, it is a moment to moment experience. You have to keep making this choice every moment.
Right.
If you stop making the choice,
And it's not easy to do, to stay
well,
aligned that way all the time. I mean, I don't think it's
you're
possible.
absolutely. That's why we forgive.
Yeah. Yes.
That's why we find our inner forgiveness and our acceptance and our compassion, because we are living a human experience. We are a spirit in a human body, and
hmm
so those things are a part of the dimension we live in, which is why we have to be so vigilant about remaining in our spiritual consciousness. But it is it's a moment to moment thing, and you know, I don't know. I think I'd be off the planet if I had gotten to that place. So I don't think I'd need to be here anymore. I wouldn't.
Well, we
I think I'd
clearly have
be leaving.
needed you. You're
Huh?
here for a reason.
Well, I'm sure of that, but
Well,
I
yeah.
still, but I'm still living. You know,
Right. You're still
when you
choosing it.
gain when you gain that much spiritual awareness of yourself, it's really
hmm
not necessary to be in this dimension and to go through it, but because it's not always a pleasant experience.
Right.
But you know, part of this experience of this journey is the experience of this journey and learning not to have judgment. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's
I,
judgment is because when we want something to be happy all the time, we're striving for this happiness. So we're not really content. We're not, you know. And then when something bad happens, we never want to experience the badness. So we don't want to experience it now. We don't want, you know, but it's really just an experience.
it's just part of it. That's how the growth happens, is going
Right.
through all of the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs, and we put things in categories as whether we feel that it was a good experience or a bad experience, not realizing that every single experience, don't put it in a box or a category, but it's all part of our growth and it's part of the journey that we are on as
Right.
our, yes, that we get to choose. And then once you get to a place where you know who you are, start to realize these things, and then you can start co-creating like we're doing here today. This is where the fun happens,
Yes, we co-create.
the
But
magic.
one of the things I just wanted to point out is part of our journey is to be without judgment. So when we judge something as good or bad, that's a judgment. So
Right,
we really this is our opportunity to just be neutral
right.
and recognize it as, oh, that just didn't feel so good. Oh, that was, you know, that was fun. I enjoyed that. And not to put a judgment on it, because that's part of our journey is to live without judgment, to be neutral. And so
Mhm.
people always say, I want peace. Well, I want contentment, because in contentment doesn't require peace, or it doesn't require happiness. It just is content with
Ooh,
what is.
I like that. That is a
Yeah,
great way to put that,
yeah,
because contentment is allowing all of the experience.
that's right. That for me, that's what I choose is
I
contentment.
love that. I really
Yeah.
love that. So then what
Yeah.
happened when you were 45? Did the light shine
Well, I
down
went. Well,
and
no, no. I have to say to you that all my young life, everybody wanted me to rub their backs or rub their feet or rub their body, because I had this really amazing healing energy in my hands. I didn't know it, but I mean, other people did because they experienced it. So I always was told that I had a really a really nice touch. You,
Mhm.
oh, your touch is just so wonderful. So everybody kept telling me that. I thought, well, maybe I should do massage. And I had a lover, and I would always give him a massage when I saw him. And he said, you know, I've never ever experienced any massage like yours. You have the best touch in that I've, you know. And he used to go to get massages, and he
Mhm.
belonged to a gym, and he would go, and so he had experience in the world of massage. And he said, you just, he says, you should do this. You have the best hands I've ever experienced. So there were a lot of things that, so I toyed with going to massage school, because
Mhm.
I was working in the real world. I was in sales and marketing, and I had my own business since I was 28, and I was an independent contractor, and I was doing really well. I mean, whatever I did really well.
That's awesome.
And because, you know, I kind of always owned my magic, pretty much. I mean, there are things that I'm not interested in that I don't do, and I'm not interested in doing them, so I'm not good at them. But
Mhm.
anything that I was good at and I enjoyed, I was excellent at. So I started my own business. I also worked in color and seasons, doing makeup artistry with women. And
Ooh,
these things are all teaching me to tune into my senses, you know, because when I would hold a woman's hand to look for her color and stuff, I would be feeling her spirit. And so we would choose the makeup that enhanced her and
ooh,
were part of her color palette within herself. And it was a lot of fun to do, because, you know, women wear makeup and they put a mask on.
yeah.
And that's okay if you feel the need to wear a mask. But I don't like to wear makeup, and I never have. I mean, I put it on, you know. I mean, when I do something, like when I was in a movie, I wore makeup, and
Mhm.
uh, you know, I wear
Did
makeup
what
when
did
I'm,
you say that you were in a movie?
yeah, I was in 2 movies, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well,
We haven't got
lots of
that
stuff.
far yet. That's awesome.
No, but I mean, I mean, I wear makeup. So I worked with this woman, and we did color and season work, and we she had a makeup line, and we'd have these parties, and people would come and we would determine their season and their colors and do a makeup artistry on them. Because the woman that I worked with was really intuitive and very brilliant, and she knew because the color and seasons were about fall, summer, winter, and spring.
Mm-hmm.
But she noticed that the musculature of women's faces were following the patterns of the seasons. So spring was circular, autumn was triangular, summer was oval, and winter was high oval. So the way we did the makeup artistry would enhance the seasonal energy of the person.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would choose the colors because colors are really very important. And when you wear colors that aren't attuned to you, it's not easy to have a great day.
Wow.
So when you're wearing the colors that work for you and that work with you and are part of your energy pattern, it's much better. Like, let's say, for instance, red, and not as I've grown older, red is not my color. It's more cranberry now.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my red because every person has a red. So when I was younger, though, red was my a color that I wore a lot of red. And if I was like didn't get enough sleep or was in a bad mood and I wore red, it took me a lot of energy to live in the vibration of that red because I
Okay.
wasn't, you know. But if I wore my neutral color, which is my eye match, which is like a olive color, I love olive and you know the anyhow all those shades of olive. I love those, and when I wear something in that color, it's neutral, so I don't have to do anything with my energy to match it.
Hmm.
I'm just it's matching my energy perfectly.
Right.
So, but that's not to say that red is a good color because when you're in the right mood, red will give you amazing abilities of taking charge and that Mars energy and
Mm-hmm.
being in your strength. Da 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 da. So the colors can work with you.
Yeah, you kind of that. I feel like I already feel like there's going to be an episode two because we need to talk about a lot of other stuff. I
Well,
need to know what
anyhow,
my
that
colors are. And so you mentioned that, like, by touching
sorry.
someone's hand, you could see their auras, basically.
No, no, I just would
Oh,
feel them. I'd
oh,
feel
okay,
them
okay.
because, and I didn't know that I had that ability in my hands to feel your energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was learning
Ah,
how to do that when I was doing the color and seasons because when I did massage work, it was really important because
mm-hmm,
my hands would guide me and
mm-hmm.
I would feel the energies of the being
Ah,
and
okay, I'm get
massage.
okay.
So, so that tuning into that gift and becoming aware that it was there was real important. So that whole
It's so
journey
cool.
with the color and seasons was a real journey to prepare me for what I was going to move into. So when I would turn 40, anyhow,
So massage, how
so
does massage come
well,
into
see,
tonal?
I started doing, I do tarot, and
Yes.
I was doing tarot readings at metaphysical shows and stuff like that, and I would do readings, and people would come back and have readings with me. Well, I happened to have a massage table in my living room when a woman came over for a reading, and her massage therapist was out of town, and she said, "You do massage?" And I just said yes. I mean, I hadn't been trained or anything.
Sure do.
I said yes. So she said, "Could you give me a massage?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "How much do you charge?" And I said, "It's the same price as the reading." And she said, "Can you give me a massage?" And so I did. And she said, "You're better than my massage therapist." Well, my lover had been telling me that for years already, and people were always wanting me to touch him. And I had this desire to kind of do massage. You know, I wanted to get trained. I wanted to go to massage school. Whether
Hmm.
I did anything or not, I wanted to do that. So she left. I got on the phone and called the massage therapy school that was like a mile from my house. Like I used to walk to and from the classes, and I said, "When's your next class?" And they said, "It's next, It starts next Tuesday, and I said I'll be in tomorrow to sign up. And then I became a massage therapist. And that's how it happened. And I worked at two chiropractic offices, and that started my practice. And people would always tell me I had magic hands. And a lot of magic happened when I was working with my hands because I hadn't tuned into my sound ability yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I did massages, and I met Tom Kenyon and went to one of his workshops, and I wanted to go more, but since my practice was just starting, I was kind of financially challenged.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew the person who did his events, and he was a friend of mine. I said, I'd like to come to his events. Is there any way that I can do a trade with him or work out something? And so Tom agreed to let me give him gift certificates for him to give people because he didn't want anybody that wasn't of his vibrational level to touch him. And he didn't
Mm-hmm.
know me yet. He didn't know me yet. So I said, well, why don't I do this? Why don't, because I want to come to your workshops. I said, why don't I bring my chair and why don't I give the people from your conference, just give them massages during the conference? Because Tom did sound healing. And Tom was amazing about opening channels to the darkness that needed to be released within people. And so when I do massage, part of my gift with massage is that I could help open those areas and release that, because when you go through an experience, your bones hold all your knowing and your muscles hold all your memory. And when you're going through life, people hold their breath when they don't want to experience something. They just hold their breath. You don't even realize how much you hold your breath.
I
And
had to breathe right now.
you just hold your breath. And when you hold your breath, you're holding that memory inside your muscles. So when you do massage with people, you're releasing those memories because you have to live this pain somehow. You have to go
Don't you?
through your experiences. This is part of your journey. This is part of your growth. This is this is how. So when I did massage, I was releasing those old pains and old memories that they had not wanted to experience. So I was masterful at it. People paid me a lot of money to do massages because it was unlike any other massages they ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And I had these magic hands, really. And so Tom agreed, and then he wouldn't let me give him the massages until he saw me. And he then saw the magic that lived inside of me because there is tremendous magic that lives inside of me that I'm not afraid to have. So
Mm-hmm.
it's always been I've always allowed it to be. Not everybody allows it to be, but I
Right.
allow it to be. And I spent a lot of time because I always made these careers where I would have 6 months off and I mean, I had a lot of time, and I would study with the tarot, and I'd study astrology and numerology and the I Ching, and I did a lot of spiritual study,
Mm-hmm.
and was really developing my spiritual strength during that time. And so Tom was part of my spiritual fabric. And I didn't meet very many people in my lifetime that were part of my spiritual fabric. So I felt quite alone a lot because I would meet people and you, my frequency and vibration was so much different that they didn't mesh.
Right.
And so it felt kind of lonely. And I finally learned how just to be alone. And that's an amazing journey. We'd have to talk about
Yeah.
that later. But Tom was part of my spiritual fabric, and I just loved working with him. And I did almost all of his conferences in the Southwest in Hawaii, and I went to Bali with him. And when I first went to his first workshop, before I started working with him, I heard, Tom has a message for you. And I said, and I never really hear that clearly. I mean, I'm not
Clairaudient.
clairaudient. I'm
Yeah.
clarisentient. I'm sentient. I feel, but
Hmm.
I usually don't see, and I usually don't hear, and that's how many people do it in that way. They're clairaudient and they'll heal information.
But you
They're
still
clair.
clearly heard it that moment.
But I clearly heard it. I was going, oh my God, what, So I went up to Tom, and you'd have to know Tom, but I went up to him and I said, I understand you have a message for me. Well, it was so blatant and so direct, and he looked at me,
And he hardly knew you really.
and he said, well, talk to me after the the workshop because this was
Hmm.
before it started. And so I went up to him and he said, well, you're going to be channeling the Hathors because that's what he did. And the Hathors are these beings from Venus that are about love and joy and sound. And so they're from the fourth dimension of Venus, I believe. Anyhow, so he channeled these beings and he wrote a book about them. And he's world renowned. He's gone all over the world. He teaches sound. He was amazing. But his message, what I really realized after, you know a lot when everything's over. I realized what he was doing was he was awakening me to my sound healing capacity within me because that was part of who I was, is a sound healer and a healer person. I'm
Yeah.
not a healer, but I facilitate healing processes.
Right.
And he was opening that to me. He was opening that journey to me. And so I loved working at his conferences. And it was in Hawaii at one of his conferences where I was engaged with these star beings, and they worked to adjust my throat chakra to be able to bring through the sounds from the other dimensions that I bring through. So it was a wonderful journey with him. I've gotten way off of massage, but anyhow, so
So this was kind
massage.
of, no, this is all good though, because we all have this journey that one thing maybe lead to the next thing, and you just don't really even know, like you don't know what could come before you. And then um again, you have to also allow something. Like, you met him, and not only were you able to incorporate the beautiful healing energy of your hands, but then he helped attune you to your voice and work that out. You didn't know that was going to happen, and
Yeah.
then you have this beautiful experience in Hawaii. And so when it comes to that, would you say, like, you said there were beings. So were these like energetic beings? Were you by yourself when this happened, when you felt like something was happening in your body?
Well, I was in the hot tub in Hawaii about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and these were lights in the sky,
Mm.
and they were in the formation of the Kabbalah tree of life. And I don't know if your audience is familiar with that, but
Oh,
these lights were in the formation of the Kabbalah tree of life.
yeah.
And what would happen is I knew because I'm very connected to other dimensional beings because they're my brothers and they're my sister. I really
Right.
feel and have always felt that I'm one with everything. So, and being an aspect of God, I am. So I mean, they're my friends. They're my buddies.
Mm-hmm.
They're my brothers and sisters. So I wasn't afraid.
Right.
I welcomed them. I was delighted to be, in their presence and to have them play with me.
Yeah.
And I also inside of me knew that I knew what they were doing on a very
Higher.
ethereal
Yeah.
consciousness,
Yeah. You don't
higher
know
self.
how, you can't explain it. You just know.
No, and I wouldn't have been able to tell you what they were doing, but I knew
Right.
they were healing. I knew they were healing me. And I also knew they were preparing me for whatever I was going to be doing next. I just knew that. So I went out to those hot tubs every night I was there. Now, hear this: we're on a journey in Hawaii. It's a retreat. we're going to all these sacred sites, doing all these sacred experiences at these sites. Tom is giving his lecture. I'm doing chair massage when he's in the room doing the lecture, and then we're out in a bus going to various places to do certain, you know, exercises in the sacred parts of Hawaii. So we're doing that. Then at nighttime, people are booking private sessions with me for massage. And so I'm getting to bed about 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And I am having to get up at 9 o'clock in the morning because the conference starts and you have to eat breakfast first. And so I'm getting up about 8. And then you go, and I'm doing chair massage during the lectures. So, and then we're going out by bus to these various places to experience the sacred sites of the Big Island. So, getting up at 2 o'clock and going out to that hot tub was, a journey. Really, it's like, okay, but I couldn't not do it. I had to be
Right.
out there. So I was it was like a calling, come, come, come. So
You
I had
wanted
to,
more. You wanted more of it. Make sure you get.
I don't know that I wanted more of it, but I couldn't
You
not
were
have
searching
it.
for it if you went out there every night. You were hoping for it subconsciously, I bet.
Well, I knew I had to be there because I
Right.
knew that they were working with me. But it's not like it's like you're kind of you're kind of right and not right. I, I didn't. I knew that what they were doing was healing me and preparing me. So for that reason, I would go out.
And you made
But
the choice to go out and
and
allow.
I made the choice to go out. But they didn't make it easy to make the choice naturally. They
Hmm.
were pulling on me, psychically pulling on me to be there.
Yeah, I bet.
And I couldn't deny that psychic pulling. I had to go. And they would work on me. And what would happen is see the lights from, if you know what the Kabbalah tree of life looks like, they're just points, and then they go down to this, and it's a formation. And so what they would do is with the light, it would pulse, and then they'd send a laser beam to another light, and it would pulse, and then it would send that laser beam to another light, and it would pulse.
It's
And
so
so
interesting.
I knew it was amazing. It was really so much good,
That sounds
and they were
beautiful.
going. It was going through all these different formations with that Kabbalah tree of life. So that's how they were formatting my throat to be able to bring through these frequencies that are here to help the world.
Hmm.
I feel.
Yes.
I feel the world is being helped with these frequencies. And these frequencies weren't ready to be brought into this world yet. But I had to be prepared to bring them through.
Hmm.
So um, that's how it all began, I guess.
And again, every part of it is a journey. So even when these things are happening and you feeling connected or tuning or just that you're being healed in any different way doesn't mean instantly that you're going to be able to know what you're supposed to do or to know how to use what you've been given and how in whatever way you've been healed, or it's just part of our path. And it's remembering to enjoy the journey, because that journey takes us in and out of all these different spaces and places and feelings and gifts. It's just, you know, allowing as much light and as possible, and then we run with it. And whatever is meant for us, I truly believe will always find us if we're
Yes, and
open enough to allow it.
I, the other thing I'd like to, because this brought something that I need to say. It's kind of like the sound healing when I do it with people. Okay, I was receiving this healing, and it was years before I knew and understood
Hmm.
what was happening. Okay, but it was supporting me in my spiritual journey.
Hmm.
And I believe the sound work that I do is very subtle. And you don't know the frequencies that I come through me, you don't actually hear. You hear my voice, you hear the tones, you sense that they're not from here because they don't seem like anything that's from here, from what I've been told. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't hear it, but from what people have told me. But a lot of times people just don't realize the magic that's occurring when they receive the sound. And because people want this instant gratification. Well, the sound is working with them. The magic is always happening, and I know that because
Right.
it's always happening for your highest and best interest. Always. There's no doubt. There's nothing. There's everything. Uh, everything in my being knows that. But oftentimes people don't get it.
Right.
Okay. It's a nice, they don't get it. They don't understand the power of it because they don't feel the power of it because it's so subtle. And so, it, um, it's wonderful when people get it because
Yeah. Yeah.
I do a lot of sound work and people think it's nice and wonderful, but they're not really quite getting the true power of it. And
And
so,
again, they feel like they're instantly going to uh, be different or have different
yeah,
gifts, or, the expectations and attachments that we put on something.
yeah,
When honestly, I don't know how one could know what to expect or when from something as beautiful as that. Because that's like, we don't know how things are subconsciously healing us or guiding us. And I just want to real quick, um, I wrote some notes from a time that day that I spoke to you, you and I did a session. And we're going to talk about your sessions and we're going to let everybody know how to get in touch with Mary and to, she has CDs as well. We haven't even touched on that quite yet. But I wanted to read this to you because I want the audience to know how I felt. And this is something that I actually did, or let me start with yours and my session. I'm sorry, I'm falling over my words right now. Um, Mary did a tarot reading, a spiritual tarot reading, a meditation, and a sound healing with me. And it was very beautiful. And what I want to read to you is just the notes that I wrote after I got done talking with her. So I did write that I spoke to a lovely lady named Mary, and she is 73 years young. And I talked about your video and all of that, but I said she did a tarot reading for me along with a meditation and a sound healing. During the sound healing, my pineal activated and I could feel the energy waves through my body. After the sound, Mary asked me to take a deep breath in and to use tone on the exhale to release all that no longer served me. As I did this 3 times, per her gentle guidance, my feet started really tingling more intensely than the rest of my body. And then I wrote so cool because I thought it was really cool. She is so great at guiding me in, or she was great at guiding me into the relaxed meditative state and made sure that I sat and relaxed with no crossed legs or arms so that the energy and the spirit could flow through me. The reading she did for me was also exactly what I needed, along with her wisdom and insights afterwards. So,
well,
like it was beautiful, and your reading was spot on for me. What I
thank you.
felt then was beautiful during your toning and your guidance into the meditation. So I also wanted to let you know that I did listen to one of your CDs. Um, yesterday, and now I wrote some more notes. Just listen. Yeah, just listen to Mary's CD. And I will say, when I went to write this, it was 11:11. Just saying.
Wow, I love it.
Yes.
I love
So I
that.
wrote, just listen to Mary's CD, Homecoming to Spirit. I did a few minutes of breath work and I incorporated or meditated with her sound. It was quite the experience, as I felt as if I was seeing my own chakra colors work and move. So while I had my eyes closed, I was starting to see aura colors. So it says it took a few minutes, but then I could see the aura colors change as the tones changed. My hands were tingling throughout the meditation, and at a couple of different points, my heart skipped a beat and started palpitating differently, which for me has always been a very spiritual sign of healing or doing some work in those areas. So that's how I took that. And that's what I wrote, which is part of the healing of DNA, in my opinion. My process was to begin with deep belly breath work, as she taught me. And I set the intention to receive healing and enlightenment for my greatest and highest good and for the greatest and highest good of all. The colors changed as the frequencies changed: gold, white, green, pink, violet, yellow, orange, blue, indigo, deep purple. And at the very end, I wrote, "It was beautiful," with two hearts. So I must tell you, Mary, that
Oh, thank
it
you.
was a beautiful experience and touched me in a way that your tones are beautiful. And I felt them in that moment. Do I know what they did or have helped me with or healed? Maybe not yet, but I know. But I know
Yeah,
that there's something. So I just wanted to share that with everybody because um,
thank you.
that's just my own personal experience, and I feel that everyone it would be beneficial to your growth in some way or another to experience these. So Mary not only has CDs available, that Homecoming to Spirit being one of them, she has many others, or a couple others. And she has a book, and she has sessions available, right? You do sessions where
Oh,
you
yes.
do, can you explain that for us?
Sure. Well, I, I, when I started, I built a website and I put my products on there, which are this CDs. And at the time, before shipping became too much, I also do these spritzers that have, I put essential oils and I tone
Mm,
into. But those are not available at the moment because it's just it it costs $10 to buy and $12 to ship. So
mhm.
it's just
Doesn't make
not worth
sense right now. Yeah.
that doesn't make sense. So it'll all be worked out in some way. But I had these products and I do the sound work and I also am going to start doing a group meditation, which I've wanted to do for a long time, where people can come and we do an intentional meditation for the world, and each individual will receive their own, because it just happens like that. Spirit just works like that. But the intentional, there'll be an intention. I have some little surprises for people. I make these intentional cards that I call them God cards, and I'm a certified breath worker. So I know the power of breath, and so I attempt to incorporate breath into everything. Like when we do the meditation and stuff, I
Hmm.
incorporate breath with that. So I am going to take one of my cards each month, and we're going to use it to work intentionally on things that live within us. So,
Can we do that
that's
here? Can we do that
sure,
here at
sure,
some
yeah,
point? I
yeah,
think that that
yeah.
would be beautiful.
Oh, of course we can. So, because I'm going to make these intentional cards into a deck of cards at some point, or into something.
Yeah.
I think I sent you the PDFs of those
Yes, they're
cards.
beautiful.
You saw them,
Hmm. Very
and so
beautiful.
anyhow, I wanted to do this group meditation because I know how important it is for people to receive the sound and the frequencies that come through me. Because my understanding, and I'm being very humble when I say this, my understanding is that nobody else has agreed to bring these sounds through. For some reason, I did choose to do that. And when they told me it was going to take all my courage and all my strength, that was absolutely true. And, but I made the choice as spirit to bring that into the world. And it's these frequencies, the world wasn't ready for them yet because it was too dense. But now that it's time to bring them in. And I've been bringing them in since 1999 when I got the frequencies downloaded in Egypt. But now is when people are going to really get them. It's
We need
people are
it.
ready. People are ready to receive them. The world is ready.
I
You know,
think we're
things
ready
have to
to
come,
heal. Yes.
and it has to come in its own time. And so I've waited 24 years. But anyway, it's time for that.
Yeah.
So my group
Well, we're
meditations are.
grateful that you're here.
Thank you.
Sure.
I'm grateful that you're here, and I really am so
Thank you.
touched by what you said. Thank you so much. That touches my heart so much.
It's the truth.
Because I know that a lot of people receive the sound and they're not really quite sure, and they don't experience it the way you do. And
Yeah.
so having that said back to me is a really beautiful thing. So thank you very much.
And it's very individual as to how someone will
Yeah.
receive it. It also depends on how open you are to it, I believe. So everyone, I don't want to make anyone think that every single person that listens to your tones are going to experience it in the way I did. We all experience and take that information in different ways. I've had out of body experiences before, so I might be a little more open, and that's why I do feel a lot of energy, and I'm working on honing in my own skills in that sense. But
Yeah.
so you also,
And the
so if
sound will
someone
help you
didn't,
with that.
I'm sorry.
The sound will help you hone
Yeah.
into your skills and bring them in out, because that's what it's designed to do.
Well, I
It
welcome
really,
that.
yeah, the sound is designed to support you in your higher frequency and vibration.
Hmm.
So that, anyhow, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask. So, if
Oh, I
I know
haven't
you're,
finished about the
yeah, go ahead.
readings.
I want you to
I
finish.
was going to, I lose track, don't I? Anyhow, we've got to keep me
It's
focused.
okay.
So,
It's okay.
so I decided to have people, because I know that people can get the frequencies through the telephone or stuff. I know that
Hmm.
it reaches through wires and through everything.
It's
So
all energy.
yeah, it's just energy. And so I decided, and tarot, I love to do tarot because I'm not a predictive reader. I read it spiritually because people oftentimes just need some support in their journey, and they get a little stuck and they need to have some information and stuff. So I've always done spiritual readings. And so I decided that I would, and when I do readings in person, I close them with sound because I know that the sound helps to work through whatever blocks that they have or whatever doorways that are opening for them. It helps to open them faster. So
Hmm.
I do a sound healing with people after the reading. So I said, let's just do that. And my meditations are really very profound because I we go to very deep places when we do the meditations. So I said, well, why don't I do an intentional sound and meditation as one reading? Why don't I do just a sound and reading and not do the meditation? Because I thought I should do three things
Hmm.
because there's magic in three.
Power of three.
And
You
then
see.
I said, then I'll do an intentional meditation with sound and a reading. And if you personally want my opinion, the intentional meditation and sound and reading is the best because that meditation takes you to a much deeper place than just the sound alone. The sound will reach you and it'll be powerful and good, but somehow when we do the meditations, we go into we go into another dimensional state, and I feel it, and I actually get the pleasure of going with you, and it's very difficult at times for people to come back because it's such a nice place to be.
Yeah.
It's
I didn't
very
want to come back. I
most
could have
people don't.
stayed there for as long as you wanted to let me.
Most people don't. And then sometimes what's interesting when you do it is that people have to come back right away because it's not comfortable. It's not
Hmm.
comfortable for
And
people.
again, it's
Yeah.
not for everybody. We're here to experiment, be curious. These are all divination um, gifts or divination tools in a sense. And we have so much available to us, but there's not a lot of tonal alchemy and sound healing that comes from a voice rather than a sound bowl. While I believe that those are good too, but this is coming
Oh yeah,
straight from you, that was
yeah,
given to you
yeah.
to share.
Well,
I
I'm
felt
going to
it
say,
very differently
yeah, I'm
in a
going to
good way.
say all sound is important and powerful. So whatever you choose to do, try attempt to incorporate sound in your journey, because sound is the most ancient. I mean, after all, in the Bible they say, "And in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was God." And so, sound has always been a resounding
Yeah.
uh, experience for the world, and sound is one of the most ancient healing modalities. It is the most ancient healing
Hmm.
modalities. So sound is really important, and I can only share with you the experience of what I've understood my sound to be, and I do know that even when people are resisting their growth, when they experience my sound, and they need to come back right away, because I know that they've still been touched. And I know that that seed's been planted. And I know in
Yeah.
time, because those frequencies will stay with them, then in time it'll be realized in some way. They won't, they won't remember that it was part of the sound treatment, but it will eventually work with you. And the more receptive you are, the quicker it works with you. So, because I remember when I told you I did that color and season work, and we did
Yeah.
makeup artistry.
Hmm.
Well, the makeup artistry was meant to bring your real essence through. It wasn't a mask; it was bringing your beauty through,
Hmm.
and it didn't mask you. It was you coming through, and the makeup just enhanced it.
Enhanced. Yeah.
Well, many, many, many women loved it. They loved it. And they would keep picking up the mirror and looking at themselves, not believing how absolutely beautiful and amazing they were. And they'd just keep having to look at it. But there were times when people cried and they wanted the makeup off
Hmm.
because they weren't ready to be there yet. However, in truth, they were ready to open the doorway to it, or they would have never been there, because nothing happens by accident. So when people receive the sound and want to come right back, it's not like they haven't gotten it, because they
Right.
have. It's just they have to percolate it in a different way.
Right.
And they don't realize how ready they are, and they still might have some resistance, and so on and so forth. So I understand that, which thank God I do, because
Yeah. I
I would
think
feel a failure if I didn't. But anyway, I
people
do
are so
understand
used to instant gratification with things like that too. And like, this isn't how spirit works, baby. I'm just saying.
that. Yeah.
You got to
But
let
it
it take
always,
it in.
it's always, yeah, it's always working. Magic is always happening, and I know that. Even when I did, because what people also, it's interesting, people have a journey. They have a spiritual journey that they've agreed to and engaged in when they're on this planet. And they're walking their walk here. And
Hmm.
they're, now sometimes our mind gets in the way, and we
Oh,
have a
I think
different,
it does a lot.
we have a thought that it should be working one way, when in reality, our journey is really doesn't doesn't go that way. It goes a different way. So when I'm working with people, I'm only working with their highest and best interest. I'm working with them on their spiritual journey, whatever that is. And sometimes their their higher consciousness has one awareness, and the consciousness in this dimension seems to feel another way, and that's perfect. There's no judgment on this, because it's perfect. It's exactly the way it's meant to be. But the thing is that the sound is always still working with their highest and best interest, and their higher consciousness is totally aware of that. And so I don't have to really do anything except trust that the most perfect process is occurring in our sessions. And I do trust that.
Hmm.
I trust it. So
Yeah. Intention is a lot of that too on the receiving end.
intention is
Intention
very,
and the belief and trust that you are that divine essence and that a seed can be planted at any time. Sound, all these different things. So it's planting the seed. And a lot of times you don't see what that's going to grow into without time and nurturing, watering. You have to keep going. Don't just
right.
assume right away that something didn't work. You just haven't gotten there yet. You know, you haven't crossed that threshold yet to where you'll see it when you see it, right?
It's manifest. It's just like when you plant the seeds for a flower to grow. The
That's what I
flower,
mean. Yeah.
and then we have the trees. You know, how long does it take a tree to grow?
Right.
A flower takes just a small amount of time. That tree takes an infinitesimal amount of time to grow.
Hmm.
It's, you know, and so that's kind of what the sound is. It's
Like
like
that
that
tree.
seed. It's like the seed,
Hmm.
and it'll
Well,
either
it's
grow.
yes, it's like the seed that could be a tree.
Yeah, it'll grow fast if you're ready. It'll grow slow if it's not, but it'll be just it's the seed that brings the growth. And
Well,
wherever
I'm
you're
ready,
ready,
so watch me
you're
grow.
ready. I know you're ready. I want your audience to know that you sent me a Facebook. You sent me the most beautiful. I mean, when I read that, I knew I wanted to work with you, and because you were just like so amazing, and what your writing is really good, and
Mhm.
you have a way of expressing that is it's just magical, and I reached right out to you and said I'd like to work with you. I'd like to be on your show. I'd like to, you know, because I just love what you wrote. And then, of course, we connected in person, and there was like some magic that exists between us. There's some, and it is serendipitous. There's no accidents, and there is, even though we both have our journey, and we both are really magical in our own journeys, we can come together and bring magic together at times. And I think I'm really looking forward to that opportunity to do that with you, actually, because
I
I
am
think
as
we
I am as
touch.
well, and you brought tears to my eyes. So thank you,
Oh,
Mary. That means a lot to me, but I feel it too. Like this, like when I say we're just beginning, we're really just beginning.
yeah.
This is just meant to be, and we already love each other so much and what each other brings to this, and we can't wait to, we just want to help everyone and do what we can and do what we're here to do as we learn or as we remember in walking our journey, right?
Yeah, as we remember who we are. And I'd
Yes.
also like to tell people what my website is,
Yes, I
because I
was
think
gonna
that's really important. It's
very
www.soundhealingelectra.com. And if you just go to soundhealingelectra.com, you can sign up for my newsletter. That's how you'll find out about my monthly sound experiences. You can sign up for, you can get CDs there. I send them out by MP3s. I
mhm.
send the book out as a PDF. I mean, it's just really a PDF. It's not. It's doesn't always look like a book, but it's a lot easier to send that out. You can read that from your computer, like you do on. I think they
That's the
have.
way we get everything these days, so it works out.
So, I mean, you can buy the book, but
Right.
on Amazon if you want. But you can get a
Very
PDF
good
of it.
book too, by the way. I loved the book. So many different things I would love to
Oh,
love it.
listen. I did not know I was going to write a book when I started that. I do these little letters to me, God, because see, I think I'm God. I think I'm
Because
an
you are, we all are.
I'm
Yeah.
an aspect of God. I'm not
Hmm.
blasphemous. I'm an aspect of God, so I want to reflect God
I understand. Hmm.
in a major way
Understand. Hmm.
if I can. So anyhow, but when I'm going through something, my higher self can really help me. So I write these little letters to me, God. And in '97, on that CD that you have, Homecoming to Spirit, I read my marriage vows on that CD because I
Oh,
went to a conference where we learned to love ourselves, and we at the end we did a marriage ceremony, and we wrote vows, and those were my vows at my marriage ceremony. So I put those, and they were a letter to me, God. They started out as a letter to me, God. So I was going through a really dark time in my life, which we all do,
hmm.
and I needed to suss it out. I needed to, work. I needed support with my higher self to process it and work it through, and that's why I sat down and started writing. But what happened is, like, I had 87 pages before I even realized it.
It
I
just
go,
started flowing, didn't it?
this is going to be a book. I go,
You're
it's
like,
like,
wait.
yeah, I've been told so many times that I was here to write a book, and I thought, this is crazy, because there's so many books. There's
Right.
so many. I mean, I don't say anything different than other people. I seriously, if you, you know, if you are on a spiritual path, you'll hear any information that I have to give you. Other people have said it. I don't have anything new. There's nothing new under the earth, under the the stars. But I realize that some people will say it in a way people can hear it, and that's why it has to be said so many different ways.
By
So
different people and
by
different,
different
yeah.
people.
Hmm.
So I published the book, but it was interesting because I had resisted that for years. I wrote a cookbook, I wrote a poetry book, I wrote poetry,
I'm
I wrote
currently in the
music.
resisting phase because I feel the same way. For a couple years, I'm like, a book's coming. I feel like a book's coming, but
Yeah.
I don't know what to write about yet. So
I didn't even
I
feel
think
it.
a lot of
I
people,
just resisted it, I did. It was when I just started writing this one letter to God about where I was in my experience in this dimension at that time. And it was really dark. It was a really dark place for me. And it was confusing to me because I was aware of my power, and yet it didn't feel like I had any power. So it was just a confusing time and a dark time. And that's why I started writing that book. And that book just was really, in one night, 87 pages. Seriously. And it just, I couldn't type fast enough.
did
It
you
was,
find that it was healing by the time you were done?
okay. It's
Didn't think
always
this was going to
healing.
be a trick question
It's always healing whether
to
I'm
write.
absolutely aware of it. So I know that it was supporting my healing process. I did know that. It was interesting to me it wasn't so much interesting to me, but it was what I was here to reveal in some way because of what the book was revealing to me and then to others. And I did not know that that might be part of my path or my journey. And it was amazing to me how it flowed out of me, how it just flowed out of me.
Hmm.
And then out of those 87 pages became a book of 250 pages because I was saying things that I understood, but and I still do not feel strongly that everything I was attempting to convey in that book was actually conveyed the way most people can understand it. But I did my best to make it so anybody reading it could understand what I was attempting to convey.
Well, I can
And
tell you,
then, go
sorry.
ahead.
No, I was
No,
just
go
going to
ahead.
say, I'll tell you, from my own experience of reading it, that I couldn't put it down. I read it in one day. I read it in one day.
Wow.
and I highlighted many things. So I think you did a better job. We always tend to maybe doubt, right? What do we doubt ourselves sometimes, or that I get that not knowing if the message can get across, because there are so many things in this experience that we really difficult to articulate exactly what you're feeling, or
Yeah.
what you experience to the in the level or in a way that people can always get it. It depends on what you believe too sometimes as to what they think about it. So, but it was beautiful. I thought it was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I went back and I wrote it in 2008 and published it in 2009. It took a year and a half for me to complete it because I went through it and over, because, and
And you did it all
I,
yourself.
well, I,
I mean,
when you I did it all myself, except that I did have somebody who was supposed to be a professional editor edit it. But when I looked at it in its published form, I realized she had not done a really good job.
mm,
And I have gone back and tried to re-edit the PDF and put it in, just a Word document. But you know what happens when I do that? It goes into a different format. So it wouldn't be a format that I could reformat because I don't know how somebody formatted it into that book CDF form. And
mhm.
so maybe I'm not meant to. So I just said, okay,
I
just
don't
take a
think you're
look at
meant
the
to
book.
change anything. When a person picks up that book, and if they're meant to get it, they're going to get it regardless. I believe that, because you mentioned that you were worried about that when I read it, and I'm just like, I don't think it's going to be a problem. And I don't even remember if there was anything like what you're referring to. I couldn't even point those out. So,
Well, there. See, I'm a perfectionist of sort, I
oh,
guess, because
believe me,
like
I know.
when I write, I want it to be grammatically correct, and it wasn't grammatically correct, and there was some glaring examples of that. But the thing is that when I attempted to do this, go through because I have Grammarly, and that corrects it,
Hmm.
right, and
Well, you didn't
but
have it back then, did you?
no, I didn't.
No,
So
that's what I'm
now,
saying.
so now it Grammarly will correct it. But when I was using Grammarly, the whole format of the book it just changed, and I can't figure out how to get it back. And I'm going,
Again, I
gosh,
don't.
this is so it's not meant to be. So
No.
fine.
Well,
But in 2015, there was a lot of experiences I that I went through for my spiritual growth from the year 2000 to 2008 when I wrote the book. And then in 2005, and after I wrote the book, there was even more experiences. And so in 2015, I decided to rewrite and do a second edition, bringing in the healing, my personal healing from this experience. And I did do it. I mean, I've written that book, but I decided not to republish it. I think that was more just for me.
and that's okay too. That's part of the journey, right?
Yeah, I have about 5 books in process, you know, and they're sitting there. They have really good. I mean, I have like 2 boxes of poetry that I've written in my life because I've always written poetry since I was a child. And so I wanted to do a book about what I was going through with the different poems. And I can't think of the word right now, but I go through and I explain where I was and what the poem meant. And so I was going to write that book. And I have, but it's a tedious book to write because I don't have my poems. I have to go through all these little pieces of paper with my poems on them to try to find they're not in chronological order or anything like that.
Oh,
So,
I know exactly
I,
what you're talking about. If you saw
yeah.
my journals, like you and I are more alike than we even realize yet. So
So,
I have
anyhow,
boxes of journals in
yeah,
not unchronological, not chronological, whatever you want to say.
yeah,
Anyways, point is that you sure still have gotten a lot done, even though you have other books that you've written that maybe have not been published. Maybe they're not meant to be. It doesn't matter. You've got beautiful CDs available. You have
yeah,
sessions available that
yeah,
people can experience your tones and the meditation and readings. So again, we're gonna that's soundhealingelectra.com, correct?
right. Sound
And
healing
I'm gonna
electric.
put a link. I'm gonna put a link in the description. So it'll take you right
Great,
to Mary's
great,
page.
great.
Definitely.
I was wondering, do we want to give a sample of sound to the people?
I would love for you to do that. If you are
Now,
willing, I
I
would.
don't know where we are in the interview, because I want
We're
the.
we're now already at 90 minutes, Mary. So you probably want to close it out with this. It's went fast, didn't it? We
Well,
said an hour,
yes,
by the way. We thought we were going to be able to do this in an hour. Clearly, we're not, and clearly, we need more of these. So I would
yeah.
love for you to close us out with some toning
Okay, and I
sound.
would, and listen, I want to thank the audience for being here and going through this with us. It has been an absolutely delight to work with Christina and to work with the people who follow her. I'm just absolutely delighted by that. And I invite you all to come and visit my website and maybe join my newsletter and find out when I'm doing special little things. So, and come for a reading if you want, but at
Yes. And I
least,
would highly recommend it. Just saying.
oh, thank you. But for sure, sign up for the newsletter
Yes.
because, you know, that I am going to be doing different things and I want you all to know about them. So let's do the sound. So I really want everybody to uncross their legs, uncross their arms, and have their body completely open and flowing so that your energy can flow through your body. And I want you to breathe. Now, breath is just very important. Breath is our life force energy. So I'd like you to bring that life force energy up into your lungs and expand your lungs, realizing that that breath is oxygenating your blood and flowing that blood through your body. So it truly is your life force. And when you breathe out, you're breathing out any tension, any stress, any anxiety that's living within you at this moment. And it is working to release anything that no longer serves you when you breathe out. When that breath goes out, it ebbs, it's ebbing out all this energy that no longer serves you. So you're breathing in and you're breathing out. And just keep breathing. And as you breathe, your body becomes more open and more receptive to the sound. It just becomes more open and receptive. And with trust, you receive the sound knowing that only your highest and best interest will be served through this process. So just be open to the frequencies, breathe into them, set an intention, and breathe. And just take a deep breath and release it with sound. Take a deep breath, release it with sound, and take a deep breath and release it with sound. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, everyone who is here. We love you. I love you, Mary. And
I
we
love
will
you.
be back again soon.
Yes, we're going to do more of these, you guys.
Yes,
So
we are.
please stay tuned.
Stay
And now
tuned.
we're
And
sounding off, right?
we have lots of conversations and lots of fun stuff that we're about yet to
Yeah.
do. So we appreciate you being here and we welcome you back again and again. And we'll let you know when we're going to be here. Mary's got a newsletter. Don't forget to sign up for it.
Yeah. I appreciate that when you do. Thank you.
I appreciate you, Mary. Thank you for being here.
And I love you, dear heart.
I love you.
So, yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening. And we'll be back with my rebellious sacred heart and all the love that's going to pour out of it. Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Okay. Hopefully, did I hit? My daughter's back there.